Welcome to the Peeew! And here we are back
after a very long winter hiatus.
At the lovely Rumpus Room in the Lower East Side of Manhattan.
I went on vacation, and so did Michael.
Yes, we both went on vacation.
Mine was longer than yours.
It was longer, and also, I would guess, more enjoyable. Where did you go?
I went to Mexico, Puerto Vallarta. And you?
South of the border.
So, as the viewers have correctly noticed on our YouTube channel, we have not had a lot of episodes since...
In fact, we haven't had any.
A fateful day.
A very fateful day.
In February.
Was it February?
When you were... Little did you know, you were just walking through a park at 2 o'clock in the morning.
And there's been a lot of speculation, and lots of speculation, and some of it's true and some of it's not. And I guess we're here to explain now what happened.
So you know, what people, I think, are really wondering is, first of all, what the hell were you doing in a park in the Bronx at 2 a.m. in the morning?
2 a.m. in the morning. I love that when they do that. 2 a.m. in the morning, as opposed to 2 a.m. in the afternoon.
Right.
I was
in your topsy-turvy world.
Yes.
There could be a 2 a.m. in the afternoon.
Yes. I was on my way to a drug dealer's house, and I was delivering a package of drugs back to a drug dealer that the person who bought them didn't want.
Why couldn't that person do it? Why did you have to do it?
Because I didn't trust that person. I thought that person would either take them. I don't know. I didn't trust him. I mean, you would understand the situation. I don't know how much I can say. It was a person who shouldn't have been doing drugs and selling drugs because they don't know what they're doing, I guess is fair to say. And I had made probably a not so good decision, not so wise decision, to return the drugs to the person they bought them from, because they're not a good drug dealer. They shouldn't be a drug dealer. I don't want them to be a drug dealer, and I don't think they want to be a drug dealer. They want to have a normal life. But so far, all the person knows how to do is deal drugs, and but they're not. He's not doing a very good job of it, and he loses money every week. And so the decision was made that he wouldn't sell drugs anymore. And so in a peak of anger, I took the drugs and was taking them back to the person he bought them from to say, here are his drugs, don't sell him drugs anymore, and he's done. He's not going to be a drug dealer anymore. And on my way out of the house, the person who I took the drugs from grabbed my phone, also in a peak of anger, to keep me, as a way of keeping me there. And when I left the house, he changed my Apple ID. So I didn't have any way of I had my laptop with me, so I didn't have any way of accessing, going online on my computer. So when I was stopped by the police, it was just a routine stop. Because it was late and I was walking through a park on the way to this guy's house. And when they asked me what I had on me and if I had any ID, I had my ID, I had my bank card, and then I had my boyfriend's bank card, which I use periodically, and he uses mine. And then I had Jane's bank card, the friend of ours whose house I'm staying at, because while she was in the mental hospital, I was using her card to...
what do the bank cards have to do with any of this?
Because when they asked me for ID, they saw that I had 3 IDs, and it made them suspicious.
Well, why didn't you just show them your ID?
Well, when I opened up my wallet, I had all these cards, and I was like rifling through my cards, so they saw the cards. And I had my laptop with me that I couldn't access. They said, whose laptop is that? And I said it was mine, but I couldn't access it because my Apple ID had changed. So it looked very suspicious. It looked like I had a stolen laptop, and it looked like I had 3 different IDs, and then I had this. I can show
the healing crystal,
which is actually, it's not a healing crystal. It's something in Santeria.
It goes perfectly with your healing glass pipe.
I didn't actually have a glass pipe. They put that in there, I think, because they realized.
Who put it in?
The police did. They put that in the story.
You didn't have a glass pipe.
I didn't have a glass pipe, and I didn't say anything. I didn't give them any quotes. But I think they realized that they had made an arrest that wasn't going to stick, and they needed a reason for stopping me, basically, because I wasn't doing anything wrong. So.
Oh, you were trespassing through a park.
I was, but it wasn't really a park. It was a tiny patch of grass. I was at the edge of it, so it really had no reason to stop me. I did have this on me, and I did have the drugs that I was returning, which they couldn't tell the difference. It all looked the same to them. And I guess to a layman, it might look all the same. But that's the story. So they ended up having to drop all of it. They tested this, and it tested negative for drugs, and the other stuff they couldn't hold because they had no reason to stop me. They had said that there was a warrant out for my arrest from 1995 for some vehicular transgression that I knew was not real because I've never driven a car before in my life, but on their end it was an honest mistake because they must have typed my name in improperly, must have misspelled something, because on their end something did pop up, but then when they tried to do it again in the courtroom it didn't pop up. So it was just a wash. They just had to throw everything out of court.
More on this when we come back.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Welcome back to the Peew.
So, I guess a lot of people want to know, why are you involved with someone who is dealing drugs?
That's a good question, and we're both he and I are working on trying to get him out of that world, out of that business, which is why I was taking everything back to this guy, because he's not making money at it. And I suppose that shouldn't make a difference, but it kind of does in the reality of things, If he was making money at it, and if everything was going well, and if he wasn't using himself, and if it was just a business to him, then it would be one thing. But it's bringing drugs into the house, and he's not making money at it. Either he's giving too much away, or he's losing it, or he's using it, or he's misweighing, or whatever. He's not taking into account the cost of taxis and things like that, so he's not making money at it. So that was the whole thing that brought this on again. I said, if you're not making money at it, and it's causing all this trouble, then you can't do it anymore. And that's what caused the fight, and that's why I took it out of the house, and I was taking it back to this guy, and that's why he took my phone, we're actively trying to find him a regular job, but it's hard, as you know, to when you're selling drugs, to have a normal job after that, when you get used to the easy money and the large sums of money, and then you see how much work you have to do in order to hold down a regular job and to bring in a fraction of what you were bringing in. It's you can see what the allure is. It's very enticing, and it's hard to break that cycle, I suppose.
So if you're involved with somebody who is dealing drugs and using drugs, are you getting high and using drugs?
I'm not getting high and using drugs. I mean, I was, if I was, then, and if this was an actual case, then I would be, maybe not back in jail, but I would be, because I'm not on parole anymore, but I'm on post-release supervision for the federal crime, not the state crime. And I've got to do that for another year. So, if that was the case, my urine has been testing clean. My urine is tested clean with one exception. For over 3 years, my urine has tested clean. So, if that was the case, I would be not here right now.
So you've been arrested for essentially twice in the past 5 or 6 months, once in Texas and once in the Bronx. So why do you keep making these misjudgment or common sense mistakes that cause you to get arrested?
Well, they're for two different reasons. The first one was really an honest mistake. We went back to the airport, and the lights were on, and the doors were open. And the music was playing. There was no reason to think that the airport was closed, even with the gates. Well, with the gates closed, they weren't locked. It was just shut. Those metal gates. They weren't locked or anything. And all the lights were on, and there was nobody around. There was no reason to believe that, it wasn't like we were doing anything
surreptitiously. So all the lights were on in the.
So I think the first one,
the airport.
The second one was just bad judgment. I should have thought about the consequences more. I should have thought things through more than I did. But, I figured, I've actually never been stopped by the police in the streets of New York. I know everybody says it's different now, and if you don't have ID or whatever.
I guess you have. Police have come to outlaw parties and told you
No,
to...
since I've come home, I mean.
Oh, okay.
And I know people say it's different now, that you just get stopped in the street for no reason.
That's not true. I mean, I've never been stopped.
Well, I've never been stopped either. That's exactly my mentality.
But, I'm not walking through parks at 2 a.m.
No, I know, but if you've never been stopped, you have no reason to think that you would be stopped, because just because you have something in your pocket, there's not a blinking sign on your head. So I never thought, I would be stopped. So I guess it was just a matter of, thinking you're above it, or you're above the law, or that you're not going to get stopped, which is not the way to think, obviously, but that's the reality.
All right, see you next time.
Bye.